All right, let's talk now about observations and how we get to them. When we're looking to get the observations from the inside. It is 7 a.m. on Saturday. I'm going to start that sentence again. When we're looking to get observations from the interviews that we've watched or participated in, we're looking for objectivity. We're looking for just the facts at this point. We will interpret these facts, but we're intentionally separating the collection of these facts from the interpretation of these facts. Why? Well, there are a few reasons. First, and this is really hard. We are sense-making beings. We're told all our lives, look at this, figure out what's going on, and do something about it. And we will figure out what's going on and do something about it. But we're separating these steps. We need to collect the dots before we connect the dots. We want just this robust, objective, qualitative fact base that we can use to get deeper insights. If we interpret too early, we risk that our insights are too shallow. So what we want to do is look for anything that came out in the interviews that is surprising, anything that demonstrates what these people care about, and anything that shows a workaround or an adaptation. And this is harder when we're talking about behavior. You usually see that more in a demonstration of a behavior. Like, for example, if I were to use my Presto card to scrape the frost from a window, it works, but it's not what a Presto card was designed to be used for. So that would be a definition of a workaround or an adaptation, using something for anything other than the purpose for which it was designed. And you can see some examples of this, of using social media that may have been designed for one purpose and using it for a different purpose. But what we're looking for here is a list of objective observations, and we want to avoid jumping to interpretation too early. And part of the reason comes from organizational behavior and a concept that's called confirmation bias. If I look at one observation and start to form an opinion of, oh, this person must be like this because I've observed this, well, I risk unintentionally ignoring other observations that could lead to a more complete picture of the reasons for behavior, because I've based myself off of this first observation. And then if the subsequent observations don't uphold my initial insight, then I risk ignoring those other observations because of confirmation bias. So what we're doing here right now, so we're going to look at a chunk of an interview just for practice, and based on this 5-minute chunk of the interview, write down a list of objective observations. Things the person said, things the person did, and we're looking for anything that's surprising, anything they say that they care about, and any workarounds or adaptations. In the next phase, once we have this list, and once you go and you watch the other videos, and you take the rest of the objective observations, in the next phase, that's when we're going to start interpreting them, putting them together, and coming up with the reasons why people behave the way they do. And if you're not sure if you're interpreting or not, and you write down an observation and you think, okay, yes, I've got a great observation, ask yourself this question as something of a pressure test. Say, what did I hear that made me think that? Or what did I see that made me think that? And if you can answer that question, it's like, well, I heard that they said this. Well, then that's the observation. What the person said, that's the observation. We'll start interpreting, as I said, later. So what did you hear that made you think that? What did you see that made you think that? Take that one step back. That's the level of granularity we're looking for as we write these list of observations. I wish you well.